Hello and welcome to History and Heritage Explorers. The Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, are renowned for their remarkable contributions to aviation. On December the 17th, 1903, they achieved a major milestone in human history by successfully conducting the first controlled and powered flight. Now in this video, we're going to delve into the details of this groundbreaking and historic event, highlighting the key factors of the Wright brothers' lives that led to their achievement, the significance of their first flight, as well as the creation of the Wright Brothers National Memorial in North Carolina. The journey of the Wright brothers towards their first flight was not an easy one. Born on April the 16th of 1867 in Indiana, Wilbur Wright was the third of 7 children born to Milton and Susan Wright. His little brother Orville would enter the world in August of 1871. Now the brothers and their family had to move often due to their father's job as a bishop in the Protestant church, but the one constant in the Wright household was their belief in reading. Educated in public schools, these brothers and their siblings had access to a very large home library. Wilbur and Orville were the only members of the Wright family who did not marry or attend college. Wilbur's college plans were dashed when he was seriously injured playing hockey in the winter of 1885 and spent the following 3 years recovering. He spent that recovery time reading as well as taking care of his sick mother, who died of tuberculosis in 1889. Orville spent several summers learning the printing trade, and after their mother's death, he persuaded Wilbur to join him in opening up their own print shop in Dayton, Ohio. During this period, they designed and built printing presses that they would sell to other printers. It was during this time that they developed their unique and creative approach to solve problems in mechanical design. In 1892, the brothers opened a bicycle sales and repair shop and would soon begin to build bicycles of their own design, as well as developing a self-oiling bicycle wheel. The profits from the print shop and the bicycle operation would eventually fund the Wright brothers' new interest in aeronautical experiments. It seemed that designing and building bicycles was the ideal experience for the construction of flying machines. The brothers spent years studying aviation and understanding the principles of flight through observation and experimentation. They conducted numerous tests encountering challenges all along the way. They focused on 3 major areas: self-propulsion, control, and lift, all of which were crucial in creating a functional flying machine. After years of experimenting in Dayton, the brothers found that they needed a new location to conduct their flying experiments. Looking for a place with constant winds, the brothers wrote to the National Weather Bureau and requested a list of locations on the East Coast suitable for their needs. After some research, Orville and Wilbur selected the 6th windiest location, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Kitty Hawk was perfect. Not only was the wind constantly steady, but it also had soft sand and high sand dunes. The site also offered isolation and privacy. In October 1900, the Wright brothers arrived in Kitty Hawk with a 17-foot glider that they had built. Now, this glider did not have the lift that they expected, so they used it as a kite and collected data and tweaked their design. A local man named Tom Tate was given a few rides on this giant kite so the Wright brothers could gather additional data for their scientific tables. Wilbur was ready for his turn on the glider and did a total of 12 free flights and racked up a total flight time of about 2 minutes. The brothers left Kitty Hawk a little discouraged, but also had gained some knowledge. 1901 saw the brothers return to Kitty Hawk. Their base of operations had moved to their new camp at Kill Devil Hills. Along with this new camp, the brothers also had a new glider. And while this new glider did set a new distance record for gliding, it was still basically uncontrollable. Upset with these results, Wilbur told Orville that not within 1,000 years would man ever fly. Almost to the point of quitting, they returned to Dayton, built the wind tunnel, some models, and went back to work. 1902 was the year that the puzzle started to come together. A new glider with improvements as well as the Wright brothers' additional research was about to deliver the desired results. Their new design included 32-foot wings with a hip cradle to warp the wings and also included vertical tails. Even though, after 400 test runs, controllability was still an issue, the design was starting to work. Orville thought that a movable tail might improve the glider's stability, so Wilbur linked the tail movements with the hip cradle, thus marrying the movements between the tail and the wing, and that provided the ability to turn the aircraft. After 600 more test flights with this modified system, the Wright brothers were convinced that they could build and fly the first powered airplane. In early to mid 1903, the Wright brothers built what would be known as the Wright Flyer. It had a biplane design with two large wings positioned one above the other. The wingspan of the Wright Flyer was 40 feet 4 inches and it weighed just 605 pounds. The power source of the airplane was a 12-horsepower gasoline engine that the Wright brothers designed and built themselves. They considered it an integral part of their flying machine. Now the question is, will it fly? Well, on October the 9th, 1903, the New York Times declared that humans would take 1 million to 10 million years to develop machinery to fly. On the morning of December 17, 1903, at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the Wright brothers made their historic attempt. Now, the weather conditions were far from ideal, with chilly temperatures, strong winds, and uncertain gusts, but they chose to proceed regardless because they had meticulously prepared for this moment and had no intentions of delaying their attempt any further. At approximately 10:35 a.m. local time, Orville Wright took his place on the Wright Flyer's lower wing, while Wilbur positioned himself on the ground to help stabilize the wing. As the flyer accelerated down the track, it lifted off the ground for a brief moment, 12 seconds to be exact, and quickly touched down after flying 120 feet. This momentous event marked the first powered and controlled flight in history. The flyer did sustain some damage during this attempt, but was quickly repaired for subsequent flights. In an awe-inspiring display of their mastery, the Wright brothers managed 3 more flights on that historic day. Now, the second flight lasted 12 seconds as well, but it traveled for 175 feet, while the third flight flew for 200 feet in 15 seconds. On the last flight, Orville took the controls once more. This time, he achieved the longest flight of the day, covering an impressive distance of 852 feet in 59 seconds. Now, these subsequent flights demonstrated the aircraft's stability and control, solidifying the Wright brothers' place in aviation history. Now, unfortunately, this Wright Flyer would never fly again. After its last flight, it was caught in a gust of wind, rolled over, and was damaged beyond repair. The Wright brothers' first flight not only revolutionized aviation, but it also marked the beginning of the countless technological advancements that have shaped the world. These pioneering feats paved the way for the development of commercial and military aviation, leading to our modern age aviation industry. The work carried out by Orville and Wilbur on the dunes of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina from 1900 to 1903 changed our world forever. In recognition of the brothers' achievement, work began in the mid-1920s to commemorate their success. National figures like famous aviators Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart joined the local efforts to create some way to permanently memorialize the Wright brothers and their first powered flight. Now, sadly, Wilbur Wright passed away of typhoid fever in 1912. But on December 17, 1926, the 23rd anniversary of the first flight, U.S. Representative Lindsey Warren of North Carolina introduced the first bill to Congress for a Wright brothers memorial, and Senator Hiram Bingham of Connecticut introduced a similar bill to the Senate that same day. Now, artist and real estate investor Frank Stick and other New Jersey investors donated the land at Kill Devil Hills, while Representative Warren enlisted the help of Orville Wright to help lobby for support for this monument. The act to build the monument for the Wright brothers and their first in-flight accomplishment passed both houses of Congress, and on March 2, 1927, was signed by President Calvin Coolidge, establishing the Kill Devil Hills National Memorial. On December 17, 1928, 200 delegates from the International Aeronautics Conference and more than 3,000 visitors dedicated a granite marker placed at the approximate location of the 1903 liftoff. They also laid the cornerstone for a grand monument to be placed on top of Kill Devil Hills. Senator Hiram Bingham and other dignitaries addressed the crowd that included Orville Wright and Amelia Earhart. Before construction of the monument could begin, Kill Devil Hills needed to be stabilized. This process started in 1928 when the U.S. Coast Guard and local citizens began planting shrubs and sandgrass around the base of Kill Devil Hills and on its slopes. A competition for designing a monument was announced in June 1928. An Art Deco masonry shaft with a base of 60 feet set on a star-shaped foundation designed by New York architectural firm Rogers & Poor was selected. Now, the construction of this monument and base began in December 1931 and was completed in 1932. In August, the Wright Brothers Memorial was transferred from the U.S. War Department to control of the U.S. National Park Service. World War II brought all national park development to a stop. This included work at the Wright Brothers National Monument. Now, eventually, after the war, work for the National Park Service began again, and in December 1960, a 9,900 square foot visitor center was completed and was dedicated. Now, over 100 years after the first flight, you can go and visit the Wright Brothers National Memorial in North Carolina and get close to and view historic items used by Orville and Wilbur. From tools that belong to or the parts that were designed and built by these brothers, as well as the recreation of the Wright Flyer, they are all on display to inspire the engineer and inventor in you. The Wright brothers' first flight on December 17, 1903, forever changed the world and ignited a passion for aviation that continues to thrive to this very day. Their tireless efforts, innovative mindset, and unwavering dedication made them pioneers in human achievement. Their success serves as an inspiration to individuals across the globe, reminding us that with the right vision and perseverance, we can accomplish the seemingly impossible. To learn more about the Wright brothers or their remarkable achievements in aeronautics, visit your school or local public library, or check out the description box below for a link to the Wright Brothers National Memorial in North Carolina. Please share this video with others and subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thank you from us here at the History and Heritage Explorers, and until next time, keep on exploring.